I think it was '09 when I took a ride with my dad, Thomas J. White, from Harrison, Arkansas to Springfield, Missouri for a doctor visit. I turned on a little digital recorder and asked him about the history of the White family as we know it. I apologize for the quality of the recordings, but we were in a moving vehicle on Highway 65. I think you'll like it anyway. Now, TJ's family had for years lived on the flatlands between Boat and Sulphur Mountains in southern Boone County. He recalled his early childhood and especially the Great Depression.
I was born in 28, born on a dining room table. And of course the Depression was already going and everything. But it's still going, see. I can remember it. So I couldn't have been, well, it's still going on 33, 34.
Oh, yeah.
But it had started to pick up there in 34. But I can remember, and I don't know how come I can remember these things so well, James, about how poor the people were. They just didn't have anything. Now, Connie Paul's, I'd go visit Connie Paul, and they had, of course, there's Connie and Glenn and May, and they had 5 or 6 kids. But she fed those kids a big part of the time on biscuits, and chocolate gravy. They had many a meal like that. And I used to love to go up there and go stay all night so we could have chocolate gravy.
Chocolate gravy.
Because, man, she made the best biscuits and the best chocolate gravy you ever...
But life goes on, and so did the boy raised in the flats between the mountains. He even had to become a city boy.
And went to Valley Springs School for 8.5 years. And went to, well, Mom and Dad moved to town in 41 or 42, I guess. And I stayed with Grandma and Grandpa out there. Went on to school. I didn't want to go to town. So I stayed out there with them till, the first half of my 9th year. And Grandpa and Grandma then had to move to town too. So
you had no choice then.
I didn't have any choice. They wouldn't let me stay by myself out there. And I went to work for Roy Klepper.
Roy Klepper. He had the diner next door to the movie theater. Remember that name because it will come up again. TJ was not such an outgoing young man at the time.
I was bashful. I mean, to tell you, he had a little washroom there to wash the dishes in. They'd set the dishes at the end of the bar, and I'd get out and I'd open the door and I'd get the dishes. But I didn't, boy, I couldn't hardly get out of that washroom. I stayed in there. They finally got me out of there then, working at some other, and I mean, I took the office teasing than you ever seen. The whole bunch that come in there all the time knew that I had a little problem being bashful, and they just teased the life out of me.
Now, TJ served in the U.S. Navy Seabees at the tail end of World War II. One of the things he talked about was making his way back to his Ozark Hills after the war.
When we was in the Seabees, we got before we shipped out to Guam, we got a 10-day leave. And Virgil Hale and I got together on this thing, went down to L.A. to a travel bureau down there, and it was people that was traveling, going east, you know, would take boys on for like, I'll charge them maybe $20 to ride, you know, whatever distance. But anyway, we got an import salesman, and he had this was, Chrysler had been putting out some new cars finally, and he had one of a new Dodge that he had driven from New York to L.A. So he had it broke in pretty good. But anyway, he said, "Now, boys," he says, Well, he told us he'd take us as far as Oklahoma City. We could go to Oklahoma City. And he said, I won't charge you anything if you'll do the driving. I said, well, hey, we can handle that. And so he said, I'm just wore out. He said, I'm going to get back here in the back seat here. And when you need some money for gas, just get my billfold and get some money, buy the gas. But anyway, we left L.A. and he took us out of L.A. till we got out on out of town anyway, because I didn't know the town that well and he did. But anyway, then I took over driving then and well, let's see, I believe we was someplace, is it Arizona? Or maybe New Mexico. New Mexico's closer to California, isn't it?
I think so.
Well, anyway, we he told us, he said, now I want you to drive this at 90 and 95 at speed, because he said I want it broke in at that, because he said I travel all the time, and then there wasn't any speed limit. But anyway, I pretty well set that thing on 95 and held it there. Now, it got to work. 95 didn't seem like it was moving at all, you know, so, but anyway, we got off out in I believe we was out in New Mexico somewhere. I said, oh, Virgil, you want to drive a while? And he said, you know I can't drive. I says, I thought you learned to drive. And he said, I never did learn to drive. I said, Virgil, what are we going to do? He said, I'll tell you what. He said, I'll keep you awake if you go ahead and drive. We'll go right on. I said, well, all right. So I drove from Los Angeles to Oklahoma City.
Straight through.
Straight through. We left Los Angeles at 6 o'clock on a Friday night, and Saturday night, by a little after 6 o'clock, we was in Oklahoma City. Well, we knew we'd have to take a bus from there, you know, so we got out there and was sitting in the bus station there and found out we couldn't get a bus till the next morning. Or no, we could get the bus, that's right. We got the bus at 8 o'clock, that's what it was. But we got a bus at 8 o'clock and headed for Fayetteville. I'm forgetting now how long it took to go from Oklahoma City to Fayetteville on that bus. But,
what a day.
Oh, yeah, we got to Fayetteville about, I don't know, must have been 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. But anyway, of course, there wasn't anybody there at the bus station. We didn't know when we'd get a bus or anything, so we slept for a while there. And next morning, when somebody got there and we could see about getting the bus wasn't going to leave till 3 o'clock that afternoon before we could get a bus to Harrison. I said, man, Virgil, I said, we can hitchhike down there. And he said, yeah, let's do it. Well, we got out on the highway, got out, found out it wasn't going to be too good at hitchhiking. We decided we'd just get a taxi.
A taxi?
We hired a taxi to take us from Fayetteville to Harrison. Now, this was before, this is when you had to go through Eureka. That's before they had the other highways you could get on, you know. And, of course, this old boy, I think it cost us $30, $15 a piece. But, you know, the faster he could get down there and back, the more he was going to make. He'd get back up there and make some more. Man, I'm telling you the truth. We were just one side of that back seat to the other, going through those mountains up there. And I mean, the tires are just squealing. I said, Virgil, I don't know whether this is a good idea or not. But at the time, we were an hour and 15 minutes coming from Fayetteville to Harrison. Now that lets you know how fast this taxi driver was moving.
Yeah, he was getting going.
Now you drive Fayetteville to, or drive from Harrison to Fayetteville now, it's about an hour and 15 minutes.
Easily.
But he had us down there. But man, I told Virgil, I said, hey, I'll never take another ride like that. Virgil said, man, it's good to be able to walk. When I got out of the Navy, I went down to, this was in fall of the year. I can't remember whether, I believe September maybe, or October. But the big thing I'd missed the whole time I was in the service was getting to go squirrel hunting. Or getting to hunt, you know. Man, I missed that. And I told Dad, I said, I'll tell you what, I'll take care of the chores in the morning and the evening, you go on to work. And, of course, there wasn't much else to do, you know, during the day then. What crops is already gone and everything. So I went to Safeway Hardware, and there's about the only place in town, I guess, that had a gun or two. But I bought a 22, and I couldn't get one with an open sight. It had a peep sight on it. It's the only one I could get. Well, I bought it, because I was needing a 22. And I took it out to the back home, went down to, well, I had a big pile of fence posts there. And I strapped that gun down to those fence posts, good and solid, and set me up a target out about 60, 70 foot, something like that. And I shot into this target. And I set those peep sights on the hole that I made in the target. I mean, I set them to that. And I got that thing to where I could shoot it, and it hit the same hole each time. I had it that accurate. So I took off squirrel hunting with it, and I actually now could take a sight on a squirrel's eye. You know, you always said shoot him in the eye, and actually hit him in the eye. Now and I'd go squirrel hunting every afternoon, and I'd get back in all 5 o'clock, something like that, or 4, or so. Anyway, plenty of time to do the chore. And at the time, you just had a limit of 6 squirrels, and I'd have 6 of them. And I'd clean those squirrels, and we had lots of squirrels for a long time. Mom made squirrel dumplings. Mom fried squirrel. We had squirrel for breakfast. But we all liked it, though. It was good. Real good. And Mom, boy, she was a good cook. And I mean, but we had plenty of squirrel. But that's all I'd done. That, I cut wood. Of course, Dad had a wood furnace in the basement there. And I cut wood in on Saturday when he was off. While we'd go out and cut. Or it took 2 of us. While we'd both go cut wood then. But anyway, that's where I met Nona.
Did you hear that? He said, that's when I met Nona. Nona Ellen Bolin, that is, the absolute love of his life and the matriarch to his patriarch. To put this in context, remember TJ had worked at Klepper's Cafe before he went to the Seabees. When he came back, things weren't all that different. Roy Klepper's wife's name was Alma. Now, this is probably the story you've been waiting to hear, so here we go.
Now, I'd go on Saturday night, I'd go to town, had my little old Model A still. This Model A was quite a car. I haven't told you anything about it. But, see what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But, Anyway, we still had the Model A. And I'd go to, of course, Dad had to have it through the week. I'd go to town on Saturday night, go into Roy's. Well, Roy was, he and Alma need to do something there on a Saturday night a time or two. And I went in there and he said, they're needing to do something. He says, you reckon you can still take charge of this place? And I said, well, I guess so. I went back to work in there, like on Saturday night or sometime like that. I'd go back in there and take care of things. Well, this one Saturday night, there Norma Jean Bratton came in there, and it seemed like another girl or two. But then they had midnight shows. You know, you'd have there's all like Frankenstein and things like that. But they had midnight shows. And anyway, the girls were staying together or something there. Nona was spending the night with one of them or something. The reason she's in there that late, because she wouldn't have had any way of being in there otherwise. But anyway, I was working in the cafe there. And they all come in. Well, I knew them all, but Nona. I didn't know Nona at the time. But anyway, we just had a ball in there, them and some others. It was just a gang of young people in there at the time. We all knew each other and all. Just had a big time of talking and everything. And they come in there about 9 o'clock, something like that. Well, I had to stay with the cafe till the midnight show was ready to go, because that's when done a lot of business there, you know. So anyway, I had to stay with it till then, and ended up going into the show, and spotted the gal, and I just went down, sit down, Monona. Now that's where we met.
Well, how was...
Then I got a date with her. Then that's when we started dating. You know.
Now, how old were you? You would have been probably what, 19 or
20.
20. How old was she?
17.
Okay.
Well, I actually was 9. Yeah, I was 20. Yeah, I was 20. And she was just, well, not hardly 17. Or I mean, not hardly 18. But anyway, she'd already graduated from school.
At that time, I mean, you know, when you would go out.
Well, go to the show, but now Nona they didn't. Her mother and dad didn't let her go out. You know, very often. One night through the week we might go, and then on Saturday we could usually go, and then Sunday afternoon we could usually get together and do something. But that's when, I was running around with Glenn Pollock at the time, and there's another girl in the dime store there, Martha Dodson, and Glenn would date her, and we'd take both of the girls. We'd pick them up on Saturday evening when the dime store closed, and he usually stayed open till about 7. So we'd pick them up then, and a time or two we'd come up to Branson. You know, that is when Sammy Lane and all them were open then. You know, that's where you had to go, and we'd go to the show there maybe.
Just after Nona turned 18, they got married and eventually moved into a tiny little house near the place he was born on the dining room table. It had been a chicken coop, and they did have some adventures.
Well, we decided to try going to the GI schooling. Well, this was in, the time of year I still had 3 or 4 months before it could start. So we decided we'd work that little house over and we'd move into it. Well, Dad, in the meantime, it had sat there for a long time. He raised some chickens in it. Just raised them there. He didn't keep them in there all the time. But Anyway, we got the little place cleaned up real nice, redone the floors, put down new linoleum, and papered all the walls, and that's when I decided I was pretty good at this papering, you know. And my mother was real good at it, and we only had 7-foot ceilings in it, so didn't have to get up very high off the floor, you know, to hang the paper. And we had to paper the whole place. It all inside with just boards. We had to put canvas on it and then paper it, and which left it, you know, pretty smooth walls, looked nice. But Mom was putting paper up on the ceiling, and you started it in the end and had about a brush about 12 inches wide or so, and you took the brush and you smoothed the paper out, you know, and then just walked back on the walkboard there and smoothing the paper out. I told Mom, I said, well, hey, that looks easy enough. I'll try that. She said, why, yeah, you can do it. So I got up there. I poked it back in the corner real good there, you know, and started out, smoothed it out. Boy, this doing great. So you had to fold the paper over, you know, so you could just go halfway across and then unfold the paper. You couldn't handle it all the way. But anyway, I got it nearly across there, and I turned around, unfolded my paper, and started pushing the paper. Then you had to turn around and go the other direction, you know. So I pushed it, got out the corner, and boy, that is neat. And I punched it up in the corner good, turned around just in time to get smacked in the face with the other end come loose and come back. And I decided then I wasn't near the paper hanger I thought I was. Anyway, we got it all done. Oh, this looks so nice. Mom and Dad bought us a new divan. Pretty red divan. And we took it out there, put it in there, got her chairs, got a breakfast set from Nona's grandmother, and we just had it real nice. We didn't have running water. We had to carry water, but we'd put in a sink and everything. We had the sink, just no running water. Well, the running water we had, you know, was you run from the house to the well and back. It's running water. But anyway, we just felt so good about it. We'd been in it about a week, something like that. We went to town on Saturday. That's when you had to do all your shopping for the farmer, you know. But we come back from town one evening, and somehow the screen door, we didn't lock our houses back then. We left if it's summertime, left the big door open and just left the screen door shut so it'd have plenty of air in there, it wouldn't get hot. Well, somehow the screen door got open, and the chickens got in there. Well, when we got back home, we opened the door, and here the old rooster was up on the back of the divan, standing up there, let out a big crow, and then plop, it done a job on it. Well, now that didn't go over very big with Nona. It didn't go over big at all. And we started getting chickens out, Nona about half crying and throwing chickens out the door.
Now, TJ was farming and working construction at the time in a strange fashion that led to an infamous incident of classic TJ White over-engineering.
Anyway, we decided we needed to get us a pickup. So I was getting in where I was having tools to have to haul. So we bought a new one. First new vehicle we ever had. A 52 Chevrolet pickup. Blue, a pretty thing. And had no problem paying for it. Everything just really went well. Of course, I was having to buy tools along, to work with. You had to furnish your own tools. So one time, I bought a 1/4-inch drill, electric drill, and I had it in there in the living room looking at it, running it a little bit, and Nona was in the kitchen mixing up something, and she was having an awful time mixing it up. She's mixing the little marshmallows into something, she's trying to use an egg beater to beat them up. Somehow, I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, it says, well, you can get a new drill, but said, I can't get a mixer. I said, hey, I'll fix that. I'll fix it where you can have a mixer. So I took her egg beater and I straightened the handle out on it. Took the little wooden thing off, turned it, stuck that in my drill. Now we only had the one plug-in in the living room. So I took this bowl of marshmallows and milk and whatever, took it in there in the living room. I socked this little drill down in there. And of course it wasn't a variable speed. They didn't have them yet. It had the one speed, and that is fast. But anyway, I turned that little drill on, and I'm not kidding you, those marshmallows, they went all over the place. They went to the ceiling, they hit the walls, and you look over there and see one of them, there's enough liquid on them, they just slide down the paper, just slide down. The ones on the ceiling is stuck for just a minute, and then they just slowly come loose, and drop to the floor. But you can imagine what about 24 marshmallows would have been like in that little living room. But I had the biggest mess you ever seen. Well, it took us 2 days to get everything cleaned up. But the next day, though, I went in and bought a mixer, too. And also run a plug into the kitchen, too.
Sometimes the grass can seem greener on the other side of the fence, and it was time for another change.
Then BJ came along. Drought hadn't got any better. And I was still working for Nelson Shideout. We were doing pretty good. But Uncle Lex came down from Kansas City, and he says, you ought to go up to Kansas City. He says, you can make 3 times what you're making here. He said, I'll help you find a place to live and everything. And I said, well, it sounded pretty good. So we talked it over. We decided that's what we'd do. So we decided that we'd have to sell the pickup in order to have enough money to get up there on, and get a cheaper vehicle. So we done that trade, and should have kept the pickup. I don't know why we thought we had to sell it, but we did. And we got a place in Sugar Creek. This is where Standard Oil had their refinery. Anyway, that's one of the nicest places, really, that we lived. Of course, we lived next door. Uncle Lex had a rent house that he was wanting to sell, and I bought it and fixed it up, redone it and everything. We moved into it. It had been a little duplex, and we made it into a full house. And we fixed it up, made payments on it all the time, and just had it real nice. Making good money. We'd saved quite a bit, we'd paid off. I had to sell all my cows that I'd paid all around $300 to $350 a piece for. I had to sell them from $100 to $125. I took a pretty good loss there. But we got all of our debts paid off and everything. And had moved over to Uncle Lex. We went up there in 55. And 1960, well, the boys, they were all playing ball. They're in the Scouts, Cub Scouts and things like that. And we was busy every night of the week just about it. But we was enjoying it. Wasn't bad, it's good. But anyway, watching the boys out back playing catch one day, they just had room enough to play catch, and that's about all there. Uncle Lex's place, he was in the shrubbery business. He had lots of shrubs there, and they didn't have room to play, to speak of. I told Nona, I said, we ought to move back to Arkansas with these boys, get back down there where they can hunt, fish, throw a rock if they want to. I said, they can't even throw a rock here. Well, we ended up deciding that's the thing to do. So we did in 1960, I guess in 1960. Seemed like 61 was it. Yeah, we came down in February of 61 because that was the year of the flood. And we lived with Mr. and Miss Bolin while we'd bought land from them before we went to Kansas City, and we had it paid off. But I'd gone far enough along that I had poured a basement out there, so I had a basement poured. But that's as far as I ever got. Decided we couldn't build there at the time, so we decided that's when we went to Kansas City. Decided we'd go up there, maybe make enough money to build a house. But anyway, we decided to go. We sold a little house of Lex's to some nice people that is good with Lex and Helen and all. But we sold it, came back down here in 61, and I went to work building a house living in now. Anyway, we went to work and we moved in December, the first around close to the 1st, and you was born the 23rd.
20th.
I mean the 20th.
Yep.
Paul is 23rd of February, that's it. But the 20th December, and we was already in our house, everything, and just doing great. In building a house, I built the bedroom back there for the boys. I had built cabinets back there for them. I had room enough for 3 beds and 3 different cabinets there.
I remember that.
Yeah. But anyway, it fixed them up pretty nice. Then we had to fix the back porch in the bedroom so we could have a place for you. We had a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, we laughed many times over the things we'd been through. Really nice, sure enough. Don't know what else you need to know.
But anyway, from my living room, this has been James White reporting.